Now then, people, it's Joe, it's all Leeds TV, and it's time for another episode of Before the Whistle Blows. We're up to game week 8 now. Things are getting tasty, or just about to, and then we have another rubbish international break, which I'm absolutely fuming about. Especially now that lockdown's on. The fact that we're one sec, guys. I'm hearing something on my other line. My apologies. There we go. That should be sorted. So we're just getting sorted, and then we've got another international break. And the fact that it's lockdown, we're going to be in the house, and there's not going to be any football to watch. So I'm absolutely fuming. How are you getting on, Locks? All right?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Yeah, it's just hate the international break, but especially, I mean, I'm Welsh. I'm a Wales fan. I'm not even an England fan, so I can't even celebrate because Wales are always losing. So, it's not great. Another lockdown, but I'm sure once the international break's out of the way, football will get us through it.
Yeah, and your manager's in a bit of hot water at the minute as well, I think, isn't he?
What's that?
Mr. Giggsy over in Wales.
Oh, I was thinking Rodgers then. No, God. Yeah, in hot water. Yeah,
he's just not a nice man, look. Sorry to put you on the spot. He's just not a nice man. But moving on swiftly, sorry. Corey, how you doing, mate?
I'm all right, mate. You?
Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm good. And Oscar, how you been, fella? Are you messing on with your ears? Can you hear us?
I'm just messing around, just trying to get my sound right. I am doing great, mate. I'm doing fine. I'm looking forward to our barnstorm of a game tomorrow, of course.
Yeah, against Crystal Palace, Yeah. I'm a little bit nervous, mate. I'm not going to lie, though, because we'll touch on it a little bit later on, but the two teams we've struggled against most has been Wolves and Leicester, and they basically defend well and then catch us on the counter. And that's basically Palace's ethos, isn't it? You know, so I'm a little bit nervous, but we'll touch on that a little bit later on. Guys that are watching, please smash a like on the video, share, subscribe. If you're watching on Twitter as well, drop us a retweet. And don't forget as well, guys, this video is sponsored by Football Prizes. Their link is in the description. We've actually got this week, guys, for the Leeds United fans out there. There is an Eric Bakker signed original 2001-2002 Leeds United home shirt available for just £3.95 a ticket. There's 66 tickets available. Last time I checked, if I'm being totally honest, there wasn't that many available. So if that interests you, head over, hit the link that's in the description, and get yourself a ticket. £3.95. And as I say, as you know, I won a signed Bielsa medal not too long ago. So you've got to be in it to win it. And if we've got any opposing fans as well, this is just some of the other stuff they've currently got running. You've got an Eric. Well, it's hard for me to say, but you've got two scum shirts available. A Legends prize. I mean, that looks sweet. That Messi and Ronaldo signed boot at £6.95 a ticket. Jimenez Bakker. There's loads to go for, guys. So if you're not a Leeds United fan and you think it's just exclusive to them, it's not. There is other stuff available. So check them out. The link is in the description. Right, guys, this is what we're going to touch on today anyway. We've got City-Liverpool, big game. Everton, Man United, Chelsea, Blades, and West Brom, Spurs. So we'll get stuck in straight away with probably the biggest one of the weekend, City-Liverpool. Liverpool, for me, look like they've just hit new heights. I mean, they're looking back to the best, you know. Jota, what a signing Jota's been. He's actually scored 10 goals in 15 games for club and country. He's absolutely flying at the minute, he's Jota. Of course, City have Jesus back, which is a massive plus for them. But this is going to be a really good game. Oscar, what are your thoughts for this one, buddy?
Yeah, I think obviously classic, isn't it? Another classic coming up. It always is between Guardiola and Pep. I think they always have at least 4 or 5 goals in them each game, don't they? And I think you look at Liverpool at the minute. I think Liverpool, they look at risk defensively to me. I think they do look at a team that can be had a go at. I'm sure Corey will say, West Ham did give them a really good scare in that sense. And I think City, that little bit of extra quality, that pace of Sterling, the trickery of Torres, you've got you just never know. You never know. And from that sense, it could cause Liverpool quite a lot of problems. But I think for Liverpool going forward, they are absolutely, as you say, mate, they're absolutely flying at the minute. Jota is pretty much taking Firmino out of the team last couple of games. And, he's really put them under pressure. It'll be interesting to see who Klopp goes with, if he sticks with that front three he's had for the last 4 or 5 years, or if he goes and puts Jota in. Interesting. I think, to be fair, I think both teams are kind of flipped over now. All of a sudden we're talking about Liverpool, the team with defensive problems, City looking okay at the back now, Diaz and Laporte. It's an interesting one from that sense. I think both teams have got little weaknesses. I tell you what, both teams going forward are absolutely...
Just getting pelters here.
It's all right. It's all right. He's a bit of a regular. No, but do you know what Locks, what are your thoughts? Because obviously I was listening to something earlier and they mentioned who starts Firmino or Jota. Obviously I mentioned there Jota's scored 10 goals in 15 games for club and country, and Firmino's got 1 in 11. I mean, who would you go for? Or is it more so a little bit like at Leeds United in the Championship? Firmino brings more to the side overall, other than just goals. But where would you go if you were in Klopp's shoes?
Yeah, I mean, I think neutral fans like to take the mick out of Liverpool because they back Firmino. They say, "Oh, he's this massive, team player. That's why he doesn't score goals." But it is true. He's a massive team player. He brings more to the team than Jota does, if you like. But then Jota brings goals, as we've seen. I remember Jota scored a couple of seasons ago a hat-trick against Leicester. It was a worldie of a game. I think 4-3 it finished to Wolves. And you can see his quality then, and he's always shown glimpses at it at Wolves. But he's coming into a world-class Liverpool team, a team that's on their day the best in the world. So yeah, I agree with what you're saying. He does bring a lot to the team, Firmino, but for me, just on his current form, it's got to be Jota in there.
Yeah. What about you, Corey? Who do you see winning this one, mate? Is it an early title decider, do you think, or do we even give City any sort of hopes in that respect? My opinion is I can't see past Liverpool, if I'm being totally honest, at this moment in time. But is it one of them games where the victor, if Liverpool win, for example, we're all probably talking on Monday saying title race is done. Do you know what I mean? Is it, or am shooting my load too early, as it were?
No, I know what you mean, because we kind of back Liverpool. They've been more impressive than City quite a bit this season. But I think since City brought in Diaz, they seem a little bit more defensively secure. Obviously, when they played us, I thought Cancelo was brilliant. I think Kyle Walker's also been brilliant this season. So defensively, they seem to have sorted quite a bit out. You can't write them off. I think Ferran Torres as well has been unbelievable for them. And they struggled when they played Sterling in that 9 role. But Torres is unbelievable. So you can't write them off. They're building up a head of steam. It just takes time. They've had bad injuries. I actually thought we did really well against Liverpool last week. And I think they are good, but I just think Jota was the difference in that game. And I think, like Locks has kind of spoken about, is Firmino drags you out of position. And that's the one player I identified in the preview. I was like, he's going to try and pull West Ham out of position. We're so defensively solid. And he was coming literally to Jordan Henderson to pick up the ball. So we completely frustrated him. Jota comes on. All of a sudden, it's like, great. He goes down our left side, annihilates us. Brilliant. And that's what he offers. And if you saw him midweek, guy is unbelievable, and that is where City are weak, when players can get in behind them, and he just gives him a different look. And I think Thiago might be available for this game. Again, another game changer. I think Klopp's been really, really astute in the market, brought the right players in, and I have to say that Liverpool edge it, but for me it's still too early. I'm sure we'll talk about it. I think Leicester are in good form as well. There's a few teams now. Wolves have picked up a run of form. It's wide open, mate. To be fair. Yeah,
I agree. We've got Rich Bedford saying Liverpool Man City game is going to be a boring one. Oscar, you were mentioning earlier about high scoring. Do you go along with that, or what? I guess what I'm asking is, what's your score prediction? Do you think it's going to be a boring game, my man?
I think if Van Dijk was fit, I'd be definitely going for Liverpool there. I'd be going for Liverpool all day long, because I don't think City can hurt them enough. But with Van Dijk out, I think City have got goals in this, but Liverpool have as well. Jota, Salah, Mane is kind of, if you like, a Premier League version of Messi, Suarez, Neymar at the minute. It is that kind of like, it's that scary to come up against. You just know they're going to score goals. Every single game, whoever they're playing, they're going to score goals. So I'm going to go 2-2. I don't think there's enough between, I think both teams Guardiola and Klopp. Did I say Guardiola and Pep before, by the way?
yeah. Someone picked you up on it, mate.
But yeah, now they always tend to cancel each other out a little bit. So I'm going to go 2-2. I can't pick them. Yeah, I'll go 2-2.
2-2. Well, listen, I don't know if you've seen it. Won't be as boring as Burnley Brighton. I think there was like one shot on target in the whole game, and it was 0-0. And as someone's just mentioned in the chat, Southampton are leading against Newcastle. Locks, what's your score prediction for this game, mate?
I think there's been a lot of surprising results so far this season, and I think it's going to be another one. I think Man City actually. I think Man City are going to do them. I think I'm going to go for a 3-0 Man City. I think they're going to blow them away a little bit. I haven't got anything against Liverpool besides they're just above us in the league, so that'll do us favours. But yeah, I think. There we go. Look at that, 3-0 to City. I don't really have a reason for it, if I'm honest with you. I think obviously Van Dijk is a big factor in that. But yeah, I think Man City. I think Jesus is back now as well this weekend. I've heard.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's going to help them going forwards definitely. So and Ferran Torres as well. He's been brilliant. So yeah, 3-0 City.
Nice. And Dylan, sorry, I did forget to mention Danny Alioski. He's actually working tonight, but don't worry, the quiz will still be about Oscar's going to be taking that. He's got a wig and some gear somewhere. I think Oscar just out of his dad's wardrobe. But Corey, what are your score predictions, mate?
I think Liverpool will nick it. I think they'll nick it 2-1. Obviously, I've seen firsthand Mohamed Salah's diving ability. I expect him to kind of pull something off in the box. But I think Liverpool will be too strong, to be fair. I do think they miss Fabinho. I do think that's a factor. They obviously don't have that natural pivot in there now. So I expect City to score, but I think Liverpool will just edge it.
Yeah. I think so too, mate. I'm going to go 2-1. I think 2-1 Liverpool. But it'll be a good game, man. It'll be a good game. We've got some decent fixtures this weekend, to be fair. Moving on, we've got Everton versus Manchester United. The big talking point on this one is Ollie, and obviously we're now seeing Pochettino sticking his head above the parapet, making himself known. There's apparent links that they've already spoken to him. Maybe even if Ollie gets a positive result, it's not so much about the result. It may be about the performance. Maybe he can get a performance. Maybe he keeps his job. I just want to quickly go around, you guys and Oscar. Is this last chance saloon for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
I think it'd be an absolute disgrace if it was, if I'm being honest with you. I think we go to a time now where we talk about, do we give Manchester a proper chance in football? Do we give Manchester time? It's only fair. But now, you look at it now. It feels ominous, doesn't it, for Solskjaer now? I think really you look at that one on Wednesday against Beşiktaş. That first goal they conceded is just an absolute. If I was a Man United fan looking at that first goal, I'd want half the team just sacked, to be honest, for conceding that, because concede that goal they conceded a minute into the game is just embarrassing. But yeah, I look at it now and think if they lose this one heavily and international break coming up, 2 weeks to get a new manager in, I honestly genuinely do think it's not totally off the card, But yeah, I look at it now and I think he's got to put something together now before Christmas to really see out the season for me. I think now you look at it, the 15th, struggling to get out of the Champions League group, he's in big trouble, big trouble. And I think that, to be fair, I think that Arsenal game as well, like some of the changes they made in that Arsenal game, they had Cavani at 35 or whatever he is playing on the left wing. I mean, he's not gonna like run at people, is he, at that kind of age and that lot? And it was hilarious to watch, to be fair. Like they just completely ran out of ideas. And I think now you look at it and you think you're conceding goals like that. You kind of think, has he lost the dressing room now? I hope he hasn't, because I hope he gets a season, to be fair.
Do you know what as well? And someone's just made a comment here, Harry Burns. I've never seen a defensive mistake like that in the Champions League. And I put here, it's possibly the worst defending I've ever seen at that level. Genuinely, Corey, I mean, it's shocking, isn't it, mate? You know, the defending, the one in the box as well, where you've got three players basically marking each other in the zebra. It makes it even worse for me that they're in a zebra kit as well. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but it's shocking, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think Man United period is shocking, and I think Ollie gets away with a lot, to be honest, with the talent of the squad. You know, I watched the Leipzig game. I thought they were fantastic, and I did say he got it spot on. But it always seems with Ollie, if his team have to sit deep and he can hit teams on the counter, he's fine. The minute a team all of a sudden sits deep, he doesn't know what to do. And then what he does is he panics because he doesn't have that kind of skill to do the right tactical change and just throw someone in or change it around to freshen things up. He's clueless. Like he's probably the most clueless tactical manager I've seen in a long time. And I think against Newcastle, he made like slight little in-game management changes. Like he started to push the fullbacks up. I was like, all right, maybe he's getting it. All of a sudden, you see midweek. I mean, that just shows a complete lack of respect for the opponents. And all right, they're not quality, but to push the whole team up into their half is almost like, don't worry about it. It's crazy as well when you think Rashford scored that goal from running inside his own half, and they let exactly the same thing happen against them. So he's on a tightrope, mate. I honestly hope he stays because we've got United early December, and if Poch comes in, all of a sudden it becomes a different ballgame, doesn't it? Yeah,
we were just saying off air there that for me, like I really like Poch. I just don't want him to roll up there. But if I'm in that boardroom, I'm thinking, listen, regardless of what Ollie's done as a player and stuff, it's just come on, because it's absolutely shocking. You know, someone said as well, like regardless of what he's done, if he weren't, he shouldn't be in the job in the first place, because no manager moves from Mould to Manchester United. That's just not normal. Do you see what I'm saying? But because it's who he is, he's a load of, he's just gash, isn't he, Locks?
Yeah, I mean, it's just sentiment, isn't it? That's why he's in the job. That is how he's in that job. He got relegated with Cardiff, didn't he?
Yeah.
He got relegated with Cardiff. He was at Molde. He's at Manchester United now. I want to see him stay, as you all do, because you want to see Man United stay mid-table or hopefully lower. But I think it's Manchester United, as they've done with manager after manager after manager since Sir Alex. They're just going to sack him. And I think you said, Oscar, it would be a good time for them to do it just before the international break. And I think they're going to lose tomorrow as well.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to mention that as well, Looks like they're obviously away at Everton. Everton have not had some good results of late, but, James Rodriguez back, I believe, no Richarlison, but Dominic Calvert-Lewin will be licking his lips up against that defence, definitely. And Everton have had one loss at home since November last year, and that one loss came against Bournemouth on the last day of the season. So basically, when it didn't count for shit. So they're really good at home, Locke. So Everton will win this, surely. Do you agree? I know you mentioned it there.
Yeah, I completely agree. Ancelotti's a world-class manager, and James Rodriguez, world-class. Allen in midfield, who they've brought in, he's also world-class. They've got a few world-class players in there, and even the ones that aren't world-class, they're still really good players in the Premier League. Like Richarlison, over the last few years, he's been a little bit inconsistent, but he has shown glimpses of real quality. Ancelotti's kind of done his best to shore them up at the back. They've had a little bit of a blip recently, but I think with James back in that team fully fit as well, the creativity is going to be flowing. And tomorrow I see a 1-0 or 2-0 win for them.
Yeah. Look, Corey, do you think Man United can get something away at Everton?
No, I don't think they'll get anything at all, to be fair. I mean, look, I don't actually think Everton will be all over them as we think we will, though. I think United will probably put in a McTominay or a Fred in there, like try and deal with Rodriguez a little bit. You can't keep Dominic Calvert-Lewin quite for long. If they've got Digne playing as well, pushing up, decent delivery. And you look at the bloke, someone pulled up a stat where most of his goal come from either one touch or two touch. Like he never takes more than two touches. So he's unbelievable. And you got to look at that United defence. That they are shocking. Luke Shaw is a terrible, positionally, he's one of the worst I've seen. You see for that goal as well. He was nowhere to be seen. So, I think Everton will be too strong for him. I think they'll be too defensively organised. I've seen in games where teams that are really organised, they just nullify players like Rashford and Martial, and they can't do anything. Bruno's not looking the same player. yeah, I think Everton probably a comfortable-ish 1-0 win for me.
Yeah. Just before I come to you, Oscar, I just gonna pick up on Reece Taylor's comment saying that Man United should go after Bielsa, and he genuinely believes that Bielsa would 100% jump ship because Man United have better players. Which, yes, they do have better players, but you don't know Bielsa if you think he's leaving Leeds United to go across there. Believe me, he's walked away from big jobs before just to poor ownership, and that's certainly something that's riddled at your place if indeed you are a Man United fan, mate. So believe me when I say I would put my house, my kids, my missus on it that he would not rock up at Old Trafford. Believe me. But Oscar, do you give Man United any chance this weekend? Do you think Everton will win? And if they do lose, do you think we should, like, Poch is coming straight in the door? Because I do, personally.
Yeah, I think they've always got a chance because they've got Rashford and, Fernandes, who I think especially Rashford. Rashford can produce moments that I think he's done that last couple of weeks that's really made them look better than what they actually are. I mean, against PSG, he gets that goal. I think a game before that as well, he came on and got a goal, and he's just their best player by an absolute mile. He's probably their only real threat, and with him on the pitch, against Everton centre-backs, it could cause problems. But for me, I just think Ancelotti will outdo Solskjaer tomorrow. He'll probably go with that bit more power in midfield. Alan, Doucouré, against Pogba. Look, Pogba might be better technically, but for me, any kind of 50-50s, any loose touches, they're going to be straight on Pogba and just trying to launch counters. And that's pretty much what everyone's done against Man United this season. But for me, yeah, I think the big thing is not just the result, the manner of the kind of result as well. Because remember, around this time last year, Pochettino lost his job at Tottenham. It was around this time last year, just going into the international break. They were kind of in a similar position to what Man United are in. But I think obviously the manner of the performance is key as well. Because I think Moyes lost his job there after they got hammered at Everton as well. So, it's not totally unknown kind of thing. But yeah, I've looked at it as well. And another manager that's been mentioned is Max Allegri, ex-Juve as well. But for me, I think really, if it doesn't happen this time, it's going to be a matter of weeks until you see Pochettino or him walking in through the door, and just hoping it doesn't happen. I'm hoping someone else in the elite sacks the manager before they do and gets Poch. That's all I'm kind of hoping. And so they're having to go for another Solskjaer or Paul Scholes this time or something like that.
Paul Scholes after his mint stint at Oldham. But look, for me, I think they get beat. Everton, one loss at home since November. Even if Man United were to get a point, it's not enough. Even if they win the game, which I don't think they will, I don't think it'll be enough. Like you said, it's the perfect time for Man United to make the change. It is the perfect time, because if they don't, I don't know who they've got up next, but before you know it, Christmas is upon us. We're halfway there. Do you know what I mean? And they've still got him in the door.
The big thing is as well, there was no, even when Solskjaer was struggling last season before they went on that run around after Christmas, there was no real serious mention of him getting sacked. There was little hints about Pochettino, but now you're starting to really see the real reputable sources now mentioning it as well. You're thinking that's kind of where it went for Moyes, Van Gaal, and Mourinho. And when you start to hear that, you think it's going to be a matter. It's going to be weeks or months. I just can't see him finishing the season, not at all.
No,
well, you can see with PSG now, they've got Tuchel in that they're not happy with at all. And if he goes, Poch will come in. So United are twitching because they've had probably Pochettino on the sidelines for a year, just saying, just wait. And obviously you watch all this United media and they're saying United don't normally move this early. They normally leave it till Christmas, but you can't let someone like Poch go. He's an unbelievable manager. He's so underrated. I know he's at Spurs, but he's quality, mate.
Yeah. No, I agree. I said earlier on in the season, and it pains me to say it because they've sort of turned a corner a little bit, but it was a race between Chelsea and Man United to see who went first for him to bring in Poch. I genuinely felt that was the case. And it looks like Man United will jump. I think anyway. I think he's done, man. He's done, which pains me as well. It pains me because Poch is going to go there, which means I'll have an instant dislike for Poch. regardless of his relationship with Bielsa, because he's there. And I just think he'll get them playing, man. The quality of players, right, regardless of what you think, they've got some quality players, haven't they, Locks? And if they've got a different coach in there, they're getting results week in, week out for me.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen it under Solskjaer. They do go on good runs. When he first took over, you could say that was just the new manager bounce, if you like. But at the end of last season, after lockdown, they were quality. They were absolutely quality going forwards with Greenwood, Martial, Rashford. So they have got it in them, and we know that they're world-class players. So if they do pull the trigger, go for Pochettino, I think they will definitely have a short-term gain from it. I think they would probably finish top 4 this season. But it's just time and time again we've seen it. Long term, it's just not worked out. Pochettino's a different gravy compared to Moyes and Solskjaer, but you just don't know if it's going to happen again. It's a hard one. Yeah.
And I suppose it doesn't help when the board's doing what they're doing as well. I mean, they wanted Sancho and they brought in Cavani, and all that sort of stuff. So it's not going to be great either way. But score predictions, Oscar?
I'll go 2-1 Everton.
Corey?
1-0 Everton.
Locks?
2-0 Everton.
Yeah, 2-1 Everton. I think 2-1 Everton. I know someone's just put in the chat, MUTV or what? I'm off. That'll be a Leeds United fan. I am sorry. But I'm gonna pain you even more. We're now gonna speak about Fat Frank and Chelsea, which is another hard pill for Leeds United fans to swallow. But look, it's horrible, I have to say. But they seem to have turned a corner. 6 out of 7 clean sheets now. Mendy's been absolutely huge. The only clean sheet that they haven't got is when Kepa came in, and I think they drew with Southampton. So that shows you just how poor he is. Of the 7 games, the one that he plays, they concede. But yeah, 6 clean sheets. Ziyech has come in, looks mint. Werner's starting to click now. I mean, boys, I'll go to you two first, because obviously me and Oscar have a bit of a pretense about Chelsea. But Locks, what are your thoughts on Chelsea? Do you think they've turned a corner?
Yeah, I mean, I spoke about this last week with you guys. It's at first it felt like I said on Football Manager, when you bring all these players in and there's no chemistry, there's no cohesion. You don't know where to play them, and that was what was happening at first with like Havertz. He was on the right at one point, he was on the left, he was up front. So I think it was difficult at first. I think they're still transitioning. They did brilliantly last year with the transfer ban, bringing in these young players, Mount, Tammy Abraham. Obviously, they're transitioning now to spending money, bringing in these world-class players. Werner had a bit of a difficult start. He's scored a few goals now in the last couple of games. Obviously, scored in midweek as well. So, yeah, I do see them. I see them breaking into the top 4 now. A few weeks ago, I would have said no. I would put other teams to finish above them. But yeah, I think they are slowly turning that corner. And as you said, Mendy's a game changer for them. I mean, I can't believe Kepa was a professional footballer, let alone 72 million or however much he was. So yeah, positive signs as the weeks go on. So yeah, I do see them breaking in now to the top 4 this year.
Yeah, listen, I didn't think they would either, but I know it's still early, but they do look really good. I still think they'll struggle against the top teams, but I don't know. What, Corey, talk to me about Chelsea, buddy.
I mean, they've kind of turned a bit of a corner. I've watched a couple of their games, and he's changing it up a little bit. I don't think Reece James and Chilwell are going as far forward in certain games, particularly until Chelsea are in the final third. They're putting a pivot in there. I think Jorginho played midweek. They've done it with Kante before. So, I mean, Frank has changed it slightly, but still kept to the same style of play, which is the difference between him and Ollie, that he's got an identity about what he wants to do. Ollie hasn't really got a clue. Yeah, I mean, they brought Ziyech in, who's looked really, really good. I've been so impressed with him. I think he sort of changes their front line a little bit. I think it's a bit weird with Frank when he's playing. Sometimes Werner's playing off the left or he's playing a bit deeper. I don't really get that, but they're scoring so many goals from it. They're constantly interchanging. Mount's been really, really good as well. I think you lot are right. I think they will push for top 4. It's just about getting consistency, and obviously them trying to blend together is taking a long amount of time. But he's got a great squad there now, Frank, to be fair to him. So there's no excuses for him not to go and get Champions League football or maybe a final of the FA Cup or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the results now, obviously. I remember, because to be fair, I do something on a Liverpool channel after this, and, you know, I said the same last week. My fear is that Chelsea have turned a corner, and you look at some of the teams they've played, though, and I mean, look, Seville 0-0, but dire game. Man United, Chelsea 0-0, dire game. Obviously, drew 3-3 with Southampton. I don't know. Maybe. Look, I know they should be beating Krasnodar. They should be beating Burnley. They should be beating Rennes. I suppose it's the big teams that the jury will be out. But I mean, fixtures: Sheffield United, Newcastle, Rennes, and then Tottenham. You know, so they could easily win the next 3. And then the narrative is, "Oh, Fat Frank's the best thing since sliced bread." You know, which really pains me. Oscar, what are your thoughts, mate, on Chelsea? Are they title challengers, top 4, or do they miss out? What's the crack?
I mean, you look at it. I think the big thing for me is Thiago Silva. I think I think he's not only massively been a massive influence on the pitch. I think he's probably their defensive coach as well. I think he's absolutely massive for him, isn't he? You know, I think he's been absolutely superb. Obviously, Mendy has mentioned. I don't think it's anything to do with Frank Lampard himself. The fact they're keeping clean sheets now. I think he's just got a leader there in the back and a top class goalkeeper. Because let's be honest. On another day, Chelsea would have conceded a lot of goals if Mendy wasn't on top draw form. I mean, that save he made off Rashford, absolutely unbelievable. But to be fair, going forwards, I think Ziyech has improved him a bit. Top title challenges, though, I'm not sure. I think I still look at that pivot. Kante, now a couple of years older, not quite got that same level of energy, you know, to get around the pitch like he did in his prime at Leicester, like he did for the first couple of seasons at Chelsea. Jorginho, Kovacic, good players, but they're not really for me a Thiago, Henderson, you know, De Bruyne kind of standard for me. You know, you compare it to, because that's what it's got to be. You know, you compare it to the top of the class, if you like, De Bruyne, Thiago, Wijnaldum, Henderson, etc., etc. I don't think they've got any players with that kind of quality in the end. Click, you know, he'd walk into that team. You know, in terms of in the engine room, I don't think they've got enough there to push for the title. But in terms of top 4, I think it's wide open. I think they've got to be contenders for the top 4, purely because of the quality they've got. You know, I think the thing is, you've not got to do a lot of that Chelsea team to win 90% of their games, because they're going to, you know, going forward, they've just got so many options. You know, even off the bench, you know, you look at the players that got off the bench. You know, Hudson-Odoi, Abraham, etc., etc. All players that would walk into different teams. You know, Arsenal would love to have an Abraham in their team. You know, I'm sure, you know, most teams would love to have the options, you know, Chelsea have got. And that's going to be the difference, really. 90% of games, they're going to be pretty much, as long as Lampard doesn't overcomplicate it, they're probably going to win. But for me, not quite title challengers, or I don't think so, or I hope not. Yeah, I hope not. But I can't see it. I think there's a massive gap there to bridge. You know, massive gap there to bridge for me. And the thing is, as well, they only look good when Thiago Silva's on the pitch at the back. Thiago Silva's 36. He's not going to play every game. They can't have him playing midweek in the Champions League, Premier League, midweek Champions League, Premier League for the rest of the season. They're going to have to rotate. And at some point, they're either going to have to lose a bit out of the Champions League run or the Premier League run. So for me, top 4 at most.
Nice. Just quickly, because obviously they play Sheffield United this weekend. I mean, Sheffield United, I didn't go along with the old, you know, second season syndrome, but it's not looking good for Sheffield United. They just can't score. Got 1 point. Will Ryan Brewster get them the goals they need? I think, you know, we had Hal on last week who said, look, if we don't score, you know, we're never going to score 2. So we're only either going to draw the game 1-1 or win the game 1-0. I mean, Locks, do you give Sheffield United any hope in this game away at Stamford Bridge?
No, I don't give them any hope there. I mean, one draw, 6 losses so far for them. It was interesting listening to Hal last week, getting his insight on it. As you said, you know, we're going to score 1 at most, no more than that. With Brewster, obviously they've brought him in to try and get some goals. It's a lot of pressure. for such a young lad to bring the goals to get them up the table, really, because they don't appear to be coming from elsewhere. So yeah, I think it's going to be a difficult season in all, really, for Sheffield United, and I do see them going down as it stands. But yeah, tomorrow, it is tomorrow, isn't it? Tomorrow, I think I would probably go for quite a convincing win for Chelsea.
Yeah. What you talking? 3s, 4s? Is that what your thought process is?
3 4s. If I had to put a prediction, I'd probably say 4.
I mean, Corey, one thing we can level at Sheffield United is obviously the defence. They do defend really well. Obviously, is it Jack O'Connell that they've lost for the season, which is a massive loss, and they've struggled to replace him or find someone that fits there.
I do think they tried to push their kind of wing backs on, but they were so. I don't know what it is about them, but last season they were whipping balls in the box. They were causing teams issues, having people all over the place. Now they look scared to put a ball in the box. I think they had like Sander Berg, who's like their holding midfielder, trying to make runs in behind. They, like you say, defensively, they're not too bad. I think Chelsea would be too much for them, to be honest, because of the movement of the front three is just ridiculous at times. And Frank just likes to press them. And also, you've got to look at the fact that I don't think he's going to be too worried about what's coming back the other way. Because I just don't think Sheffield United, they haven't really got an outlet. Even when they sign people like McBurney, they've never been prolific. McGoldrick isn't either. So they are relying on someone like Ryan Brewster to come in and really like pick up a few goals. But if you don't get delivery into the box or you're not creating anything, he's got nothing to work off. So I think it's going to be convincing for Chelsea. Unfortunately for you, it's going to be Fat Frank to the title with that result tomorrow, probably.
Oh yeah, probably yeah. Just checking. Is my picture all right, guys? We've had a few people mentioning a buffering. Is everything okay?
Yeah, seems all right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, he makes a good point there, Oscar, doesn't he? Because for a fact, Chelsea continue in this vein. It's all we'll hear. It is all we'll hear about, Chelsea and the media's darling. Frank won't surprise me if he'd be touted for next England manager. I'm not even joking. Like, I swear to God, and it'll blow my head off.
He would be better than Southgate, to be fair. It'd at least be semi kind of watchable, at least. And I don't think he'd play like Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips as 2 number 10s or whatever crazy, chaotic rubbish he's tried in the last one. But yeah, I mean, obviously, you look at it. I think already you've seen the mentions of Chelsea. Ooh, Chelsea are only 4 points off Liverpool. And obviously, this weekend, one of Liverpool or City is going to drop points. Chelsea are probably going to win. And then you just know for the next 2 weeks, it's going to be talk of there's a third wheel now in this title race. And it's just so early to say. But you look at this game really for Chelsea, and I think the big thing is the first goal and when it happens. If Chelsea score early, I just see Sheffield United having to push out, lose a bit of that solidity, and Chelsea, I can see possibly something like what Locks was saying, a 3 or 4 goal win. But I think Wilder, to be fair, defensively knows what he's doing, but I still think Chelsea will break through at some point. They've got options off the bench to change the game as well. But for me, just to go on to Sheffield United, I know as much as Chris Wilder's a club legend, but I'd be seriously asking questions after you spent 120 million, on whatever it is, on their squad, which has spent quite a fair bit, since they got promoted. So much money on strikers, 20 million on Brewster, 20 million on McBurney, to not have any real serious goal threat. No matter what Wilder's done in that job, you've got to seriously be asking questions at some point and saying, well, hang on a minute, what's the point? They defend well, but if every game's going to be nil and you're trying to hold on for a draw, it just seems a bit, I don't know, even the fullbacks, as Corey was saying, they just don't seem to have that edge about them now. They're not at all good to watch for me. I think they're very reliant on moments in games. I don't think there's any real serious, I can't think of any game this season where Sheffield United have seriously looked like they're going to score, or really put a team to the sword. I've just not seen it at all this season. Even against us, I thought we felt in complete control. I would be seriously asking questions if I was a Sheffield United fan. After considering as well lockdown, they were pretty terrible back end of last season. I think Hal was saying it's 10 without a win, and you question, is Wilder just a passion merchant? Without the fans there, at Bramall Lane, roaring them on. You got to ask that question at the minute.
I'm telling you, man, if Hal is watching this, he'll be fuming with you. He'll be coming for you, man. He'll be coming for you. I don't know. I think it's going to be tight, but still think Chelsea will win the game. I want Sheffield United to stay up, man. I do. I feel a bit shit for them, if I'm being totally honest, but it is what it is. But yeah, I say tight, but fucking 2-0's tight, innit, really? Because I understand why people are saying it'll be 4-5. Do you know what I mean? But I guess we'll wait and see. I'd be very, very shocked anyway if they manage to get anything from this game. Yeah. Shit to be a Blades fan right now. Right, so we'll move it on, guys. This is a bit. I know it's not a huge game, but I wanted to touch on it. West Brom Spurs, and the reason I do, I want to ask you first of all, are Tottenham this time under Mourinho with the way they're playing and the way he's got them playing? Obviously, Bale still to get back to top level if indeed he can. Son looks absolutely unreal. Kane adding assists to his game. He could be looking at 20 goals, 20 assists now instead of just goals. He's added that extra dimension. Locks, are Tottenham genuine title challengers? I think, personally, I'm coming round to thinking that they could be the team that pushed Liverpool the most. What are your thoughts, Locks?
Yeah, I would have to say yes. Kane and Son look absolutely unbelievable this season. I mean, they are, last season as well, but they look on a different level this year. In a normal season, I would say maybe not, but obviously with the results that we're getting this year and how the table's looking already, I mean, as it stands, because of the score tonight, Southampton are top of the league. So, Villa have had a good start. They've obviously had a bit of a blip recently, but yeah, there's surprising results, and it was a bit like when Leicester won the league a few years ago. We had a brilliant season, and obviously we deserved to win the league, but other teams were just not quite good enough compared to other years. And I think if that continues this year, then Tottenham have a real good chance of kind of finishing definitely in the top three, really. I think the title contenders, I think that they are slowly improving under Mourinho. Gareth Bale's another good addition to the squad. He's a world-class player, and I'm not just saying that because I'm Welsh, but yeah, we all know he's a quality player, just not had a great time at Madrid. So yeah, I definitely see Tottenham there, challenging for the title. And to be fair, I'd have them over Chelsea. I'd have them over City. I think it is just them and Liverpool really at the top.
Yeah, Corey, I know it'll be difficult for you to answer this, mate. But what are your thoughts on Tottenham? Are they genuine title challengers?
I'd have to agree. In terms of consistency, I think they've had a brilliant window. The squad depth's is fantastic at the moment. I think they've got nearly 2 players for every position. I watched them against Ludogorets, and you can't read too much into it. But some of the football they were playing at times, I remember when Mourinho, I think it was his second season, the second time around at Chelsea, and all of a sudden they started playing some decent football. It feels like that. I think Bale's getting his fitness up now, and he's looking lively, and he's almost playing in that 10 role. They are contenders. I hate it. I really, really do, because I thought they exposed Southampton's high line. They obviously, United got a man sent off, so I thought it was a bit of luck. They've had a few 1-0s, but unfortunately, I can kind of see this Mourinho train 1-0, 2-1, just to that level of consistency throughout the season. And Harry Kane's unbelievable. I mean, as an overall player, not just a finisher, like we've said, the assist, the passing. So I hope it's not Tottenham's year, because I don't think I could deal with them not winning the title or even challenging. But yeah, definitely they'll be up there. Definite top 4 and possibly pushing for the top 2 as well.
Yeah. What about you, Oscar?
I just think it's so competitive, in that top 4 race. So I think, really, look at with Kane and Son, you'd have to say they can beat anyone on their day. They can beat absolutely anyone on their day. As long as the rest of the team works and they just give the ball to those two, add Bale into the mix. I was saying before about Jota, Mane, Salah. To be fair, Kane, Son, Bale at full tilt is not a million miles off that. Not a million miles off that at all. But yeah, I look at Tottenham. I think the only problem Tottenham have is at the back a little bit. I think Reguilon being top class at left back. Doherty's done all right at right back. I'm not 100% convinced by him. I think when you get a Mane or someone like that running at him, he'll probably struggle a little bit. But I think at the back 2, I think Alderweireld's okay. But in terms of Alderweireld's partner, I think that's where the problem comes with Tottenham. Dyer, not good enough for me, being totally honest. Sanchez, not particularly convinced by. I think that's where Tottenham's downfall will come from. I think the rest of the team's pretty much spot on. I think Ndombele, massively underrated player in that midfield, really makes things happen. And they're doing absolutely fine without Kate and without Ali and Ericsson. They're two of their star players, before kind of like this season. So yeah, there's no reason why, when Mourinho is taking the handbrake off as well, he's actually letting Tottenham play football. I've never seen a Mourinho team play with such free-flowing football, in 3 forwards, 3 quite attack-minded midfielders, both fullbacks pushing forwards. I think it's accepted, really, Mourinho, that this isn't a team that can just sit back and do what his old teams do. It's not got that Chelsea element to it, that he's got loads of players who work off the ball and are happy to sit back and hit the teams on the counter. He knows he's got a team now that wants to play football. And to be fair, he's showing that adaptability. He's letting them play the football. In some areas, they look as good as they've done with Pochettino, but yeah, I'm not sure title challenges, to be honest. I think that back 4 might just cost them in the end, especially against the top teams. They conceded that West Ham game. For me, I think a team pushing for the title doesn't drop a game like that. I don't think they drop a game. I know that Lanzini has scored
come on. There's not what you can do with that, though, is there?
Oh my God!
It's the 2 goals before that. You don't let West Ham into the game like that. As good as West Ham have been this season for me, that is a pretty poor sign. To be fair, in terms of they just lack that little bit of experience, a little bit of know-how just to get them over the line in a game like that. And they're a little bit too nice. There's always been that thing about Tottenham, and a bit too nice a team. Probably still the case. I'm going to go probably 3rd or 4th for Tottenham.
Really, I think you're being very harsh, man. Very harsh. But football's a game of opinions, isn't it? I think they could. I think they'll go well, man. Unbeaten in 6. And listen, if they are in and around that come January, Daniel Levy will spend. Like people say he's tight in that, but if he knows there's a genuine chance, I think he will get it. You mentioned a centre-back, and Mourinho he isn't shy. He'll be saying, right, get me this player. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. And I'd like to see it, if I'm honest. I'd like to see someone else in there for a change. I picked this game as well because I was actually quite surprised that it's actually been mentioned that Bilic could pay with his job if he loses this game, right? Which I think is absolutely crazy, especially when you consider like Fulham, for example, what's going on there. Even what's going on at Old Trafford, as we mentioned earlier. I think Bilic is doing all right with the players that he's got, but I think he's had a few words to say about the board and stuff. I mean, Locks, I don't know if you've seen much of West Brom. I don't think they will stay up personally. They may just, but because I look at Fulham and Sheffield United and think, right, they could be down. So then for me, there's one more spot available. But do you think it would be harsh? And if they're saying if he doesn't win at the weekend, for me, he might as well just fucking pack his bags now. Because they ain't beating Tottenham, are they?
Yeah, that's exactly right. West Brom, I do think they're going to go down. I do. They've got a couple good players in the squad. I mean, Diagana from West Ham. He's a great player, and as well, is it Pereira in the middle? So they've got some good players in the squad, and it's so early on in the season. 2 wins will, fire them up the table. So. It's always a bit of a sticky one, really. A newly promoted team sacking the manager because obviously, he's got them up there, and it's always going to be a difficult time for them, in the league, but in the Premier League. So, especially, this early on, I think it would be a disgrace for them to sack him. You look at the teams over the years. Villa last year, that great escape. Leicester a few years ago. Loads of teams have done it. So I think it would be ludicrous to sack Bilic, who's a great manager, so early on in the season.
Yeah, well, do you know what as well? Like the one real thing, I know Bilic, Corey, you'll be able to give us a bit of an idea about Bilic, obviously his time at West Ham, but the one thing that I really like Bilic, and one of the things that really did was was it the Euros or the World Cup coverage when he was on ITV or BBC, and when you hear him speak, I just thought, this guy knows what he's talking about. When you actually can watch someone and think, he knows what he's talking about, man. Corey, what are your thoughts on Bilic? Obviously, I know he spent some time at West Ham.
Yeah, I like Bilic. I wouldn't have a bad word. Even when he left us, even when we were struggling, the fans were so behind him. Probably the one manager in probably a decade and a bit, I remember West Ham fans still being behind. He was let down at West Ham. He didn't get the signings that he wanted. I think he wanted Dendoncker, Carvalho. Would have been a different ball game. I think West Brom talking about getting rid of him now is ridiculous. I think it's something to do with they've let Hegazi go or something on loan, and he said he didn't want him to leave, and they've just done it behind his back. In which case, you'd argue that maybe Bilic should walk before he's sacked, just out of principle. But I don't think West Brom have got enough quality in the side. I think going forward, though, I think Pereira, particularly against Everton, Pereira, Diangana, brought Carlin Grant in as well from Huddersfield, which is a great striker as well for the Championship. They've got some really good options, but defensively they're all over the place. And I feel for him. I feel for him if he goes, because I think he deserves a Premier League job, if I'm honest. You know, he just give him a bit of consistency, give him a bit of money. West Brom have been really tight as well with the money they've spent. And I don't know what their financial situation is, but if he can keep West Brom up, it's pretty much a miracle, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. And someone's just flashed it up in the comments there, and I wanted to get Oscar's thoughts on it, because I know the Leeds United hierarchy, they like Lee Bowyer. It's been mentioned before. I think it's mad. I know they reckon on he's a good coach, but I just can't see him coming after Bielsa. Like, it'd be the most maddest transition ever to go from Bielsa to Bowyer. But apparently Bowyer has been linked with a West Brom job, Oscar. Do you think he could do a job with this West Brom side in the Premier League? He did well at Charlton, you know, with what he had available to him.
I mean, ultimately, he did do well at Charlton, but also, as harsh as it sounds, he still went down with them. You know, they still got relegated, you know, and that's the thing. But, you know, I look at, in terms of for us, Lee Bowyer, not as a straight replacement for Bielsa. That's just one end of the footballing scale to another, really. You know, and it's not really something that would interest me as much as Lee Bowyer. Everyone will get behind him, but for West Brom, I don't understand that at all, mate. You know, you've got Slaven Bilic, who's got experience at the Premier League. You know, he's got the West Brom promoted. You know, he's still all right so far. You know, I know they've not won a game yet, but Chelsea on another day, they've probably seen that one out. To go 3-up against Chelsea suggests they have got something about them. They've had a couple of other decent little results. They got that battling one at Brighton, and it looks all right, to be fair. On another day, slightly better finishing, they probably would have won a couple of games. You know, I think I certainly look at them compared to Fulham, as you said before. Burnley, Sheffield United, I still think they've got more about them going forward than those teams. You know, Pereira, Diangana really linking up pretty well together so far. They're just not quite put it all together as a unit yet. I think defensively they're getting let down a little bit, but I don't know. I think you can pretty much write West Brom off of the sack Bilic. You know, I think if you're in that dressing room more than anything, and you're kind of thinking, I think he's got a real popularity in that dressing room. I think Pereira, a lot of different players have said he's been a massive influence to him. And I don't think there's not many players who have a bad thing to say about Slaven Bilic. There's not many players he's managed, you know, and he's managed some top players in his time. I just look at it and think, that's absolutely crazy. You know, and in terms of Leeds, if you're asking me, who would I want coming in from Marcelo Bielsa, and the choice between Lee Bowyer and Slaven Bilic, it's an absolute no-brainer. You know, there's an absolute no-brainer. If Slaven Bilic is a lot closer to that philosophy, but yeah, I just don't get it for me, West Brom. If I was a West Brom fan, I'd be absolutely fuming. Yeah, you can't get to the games, and the guy who's just got you up is just going to walk out the door, and you're just letting it happen, and it just seems madness. But I think, as Corey was saying, I think a lot of it is kind of emphasised itself from what happened to Bilic at West Ham when he was let down. I think he knows it's kind of the same old story, you know, and it's probably going to really develop legs. I think no matter what the result is, he's going to either get sacked or leave, whichever happens first. And West Brom are down from that point for me.
Yeah, I think it happens quite religiously at West Brom as well, man. They come up, they don't do well, they sack the manager, they get someone else who has no chance. I think Pepe Mel before, was it Darren Moore before that? Do you know what I mean? And what you say, Oscar?
Cardew in at one point to replace him. He sacks the survival specialist, the biggest survival specialist of all time in Tony Pulis, to hire Alan Pardew, and they went straight down. I mean, that sums up the decision making at that football club. It's absolutely crazy.
I even put in here I put question mark Big Sam.
probably go down.
Yeah, 100%. It wouldn't surprise you, would it? It wouldn't surprise you. Yeah. Right. Okay. We'll move on slightly. I'm just conscious of time as well. I want to touch on your boys' games just quickly. I wanted it up. Well, I won't say quickly, but Palace Leeds. Palace Leeds this weekend. I want to come to you, Locks. Obviously, just playing Leeds United, coming away with, you know, a great 4-1 win. I have seen a lot of comments coming from Leicester fans, though, be actually quite positive about the way Leeds United played, and actually said, you know, yes, 4-1, but you're a good side, you'll be all right. That's what I've seen in the comments on our videos anyway. But I just want to get your thoughts on Leeds United after going up against them, and obviously the thoughts on the game against Palace and how you see it going, Locks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think many Leicester fans thought it would finish, 4-1. I don't, not many thought that we'd be that much of a convincing win. At times of the game, you nearly got back into it. Obviously, you scored that goal not long after half time, and you kind of caught us out there, and we were under the cosh really for a good period of time before we got our third. So, yeah, we started off very strong against you, and I don't think Leeds really kind of expected that, because in previous games we sat back until the 60th minute, and that's when we attacked. So that was obviously good game management from Rodgers. But yeah, I mean, when you were attacking and when you did have us under the cosh, you were brilliant. You did all the things that you have been doing this season. Obviously the fitness levels, at it constantly. And you were a threat. Obviously if Patrick Bamford had put that header away in the first couple of minutes, it could have been a completely different game. So I see Leeds coming back with a bang really this weekend, and I think you're gonna make up for that result on Monday with a win against Palace.
Oh, I hope you're right, mate. I hope you're right, because I need it. This is the thing, like, just coming up, yeah, we've had some positive results, but if we lose against Palace, we've then lost 2 on the bounce, and it's an international break, and it's like, and then we've got Arsenal and Everton, then it's got, do you know what I mean? I just can't deal with 2 weeks off of that narrative getting thrown out, not only by our own fans, by the media and stuff as well. So we need to get back to winning ways. Corey, what are your thoughts on Palace Leeds, mate?
I mean, I can see it being quite frustrating for you, because when I was watching you against Leicester, you love hitting that switch pass. And when it works and when it comes off, you can just open up defences. When it doesn't and teams sit deep, I watched the Wolves game with Leeds as well. You just get frustrated. And it's like, where's the answer coming from? And I think it's Click, isn't it? And he was playing a little bit deeper. And I think it's been really impressive, to be fair. I don't think I've seen like a kind of an 8 pass forward as much as he does. And he can pass between the lines as well. It's going to be frustrating though. You've got Roy Hodgson, 4-4-2. One of the most organised teams I've seen in a long time, and maybe you'll edge it, or maybe they'll come up with something, because I just think Zaha is movement in behind. They've got Eze to come off the bench as well. In theory, Palace have got some decent attacking players, but I don't know, mate. It could just be one of those boring games. Maybe it's nice just get a point and then look after the international break and see what goes on from there. But I think I spoke to you before. I think you're struggling without Calvin, if I'm honest. It's changing your midfield. I thought Rodrigo against Villa was superb as well. Again, he didn't play the other night. So if you get a few players back, it's a different outlook. But yeah, they'll frustrate you, mate. It's a bit boring Crystal Palace.
Yeah, it's going to be just gonna set it up for Oscar here, obviously. But you're right. We missed key personnel. Obviously, Rafinha, Rodrigo, Llorente, we've not seen anything of. There are summer signings. You're talking £60-odd million worth of player that weren't involved at Leicester. Obviously, I think Rafinha will make the bench this weekend, but Rodrigo's still self-isolating. For non-Leeds fans, obviously, 1 win in 20 in the capital. We just do not do well in London. It's just a thing. I don't know what it is. I hope it's just exclusive to the Championship. But we'll have to see if the curse of the capital continues. Honestly, boys, we just can't win in London. 1 in 20. Bielsa notoriously struggles against this sort of outfit in terms of 4-4-2. They're going to pack, men behind the ball. I think it's going to be frustrating as well, Corey. I think the one thing, the positive I take out is maybe the back line isn't full of pace. They're not going to press as high. They're just going to play deep. We're going to see a lot of the ball. It's whether or not we can make the balls into the box count. Look, I did my preview earlier on as well, and I think it's absolutely insane. But in terms of numbers, outputs, in terms of shots on goal, chances created, we're actually the same as Palace, like numbers-wise, which I found absolutely insane to think that we're putting out the same similar numbers, and if you think of how they play and we play, it's like chalk and cheese. But I'm really nervous for this one, just because I know notoriously, if it doesn't come off, especially in the first half, then Leeds United will resort to getting it out to the wing and peppering the box with balls. And if it don't come off, it'd just be one of them frustrating games where we can play all night, and we'll just put balls into the box and they'll just be headed away, you know. But I do think Strauch will come back in the DM, which then means Click can play higher up, because it didn't work. It worked against Villa in the second half when we had to make the substitution, but against Leicester, it just didn't work. He was far too deep for me. And then when it changed around in the second half, it got a little bit better. But I think Pascal Strauch comes back in, and then we'll see Pablo and Click in the 8. But Pablo's as a performance as well, Oscar. But go on, I'll let you talk. I've set you up there with loads of stuff. I'll let you fire away, mate.
I think the thing is with Palace is they're a very, very difficult team to pin back. I think they're a very difficult team to really panic, and frustrate and really unnerve in that kind of sense. When you have a lot of the ball against them, you can have 70% of the ball against them, but you can't get anywhere near them because you've got Zaha, Townsend, Eze might or might not start this game, probably won't, might come off the bench, Batshuayi, etc., etc. Players like that who are so good on the counter and that lot. And I think Zaha, you give Zaha the ball anywhere and he just carries it and he just relieves the pressure. You give him the ball on the edge of your own box, he can just take on 2 or 3 players and get him out and push him out in that kind of sense. And they're a very, very difficult team to play, Palace. I think obviously, but I think that the other thing you look at Palace is you don't know which Palace is going to turn up. Sometimes it can be brilliant. They beat Scum away first day of the season. They looked like a team that you're kind of thinking they're going to be the dark horses this season.
That's not difficult, though. That's not difficult.
No, it's not. But to be fair, it was just the manner in which they did it. It was a day when I think they won 3-1. I think it was. Could have easily been 6. Seriously, Zaha was just having a laugh. You know what I mean? And that's the worry. You look at Zaha, for me, Palace are the biggest one-man team in the league. Not in a derogatory way, but everything they do literally goes through that man, in every sense and in that kind of way. But yeah, I think defensively they're organised, but it's just hard to get them defending their own box because they're so good at pushing out because they've got so many people who can carry the ball and do different things and bits and pieces. But I think Milivojevic getting sent off in that game before this one against Wolves, I think Hodgson was fuming about that. I think that's a bit of a boost for us. I think it gives Click an easier game. I think it gives him more space to control things. But yeah, I think straight away going into this game, you've got an idea what's going to happen. We're even regardless of the result, we're going to have 75, 80% of the ball probably going to have twice as many shots. All these kind of things we had. It's going to be like a championship game for us almost. Not to be horrible at Palace, but it is going to be in that kind of sense. But any mistake we make in this game will get punished. It's a categoric fact. Like against Leicester, if we make a mistake in this game, we're going to get punished. If we do what we did in that first 2 minutes against Leicester, that's the only worry you've kind of got, really. I don't think Palace are that kind of team. They're going to carve you open and create 10, 15 chances of the game. It's just not their style. But to be fair, it's what they have the capability of doing. We look at that front 4. Zaha, Eze, Batshuayi, Townsend. They should be doing better than they are, really. And I think if we get anything from this result, from this game, it'd be a massive positive for me. And I think it'd be a massive positive for Bielsa, coming up against a team like this and getting a result. Because how many times have we gone to London, as you said, mate? QPR away, Millwall away, games like that. And I know Palace have got a lot more quality, but it's that kind of idea again. We have a lot of the ball, we concede early, and then we run out of ideas. We just got to make sure we just stay in control on this one and patient, because it's not going to be a case of we're going to do what we did to Villa. No chance we're going to do what we did to Villa. I hope we do, but it's not going to be that kind of game. Villa came out and tried to outpress us, which you just can't do against us. Palace are just going to try and sit back. They're going to try and... There's no way you're telling me Roy Hodgson has not watched that game against Leicester and thought, ooh, I fancy a bit of this. I'm going to have Zaha doing what Vardy did, etc., etc. It's what Roy Hodgson hasn't really got a philosophy as such. He just goes from game to game. You've seen it with England and that lot. He won't be bothered about making it entertaining. As long as they win the game, it's all that matters to him. So, yeah, I think we'll get a draw, though. I think it's going to be tight. I'm going to go 1-1.
Yeah, I think the left-hand side, I think Jeffrey Shalhoub and Van Aanholt, that'll be a key battle up against Ayling. I think, that'll be interesting. But listen, I see us winning. On the road. I'm going to go 2-1. Locks, who wins this one, my man?
I'm going 1-0 Leeds for this one.
Nice, I take that. Corey?
Yeah, I got to say, 1-0 Leeds.
Nice. As long as it's 3 points, I don't care. That'll do me. Paddy Bamford back on the score sheet as well. Yours as one after them. Shocking. That shocking header. Shocking header. And I think he should have had a second as well when Ayling put him through and his dodgy touch let him down. If he traps that, it's in the back of the net. But anyway. Right, let's move on. Corey, quickly. Fulham at home. You've got to win this one, right?
Beautiful, mate. First game this season that I can remember us going into thinking, I'll tell you what, we'll get 3 points. I mean, we've done unbelievably well. We've done unbelievably well in the games we've had. Like, obviously, the Leicester result, not to rub it in, but the Wolves result as well. Like, we were great against Liverpool. I watched So last week. You lot weren't giving us too much of a hope. And I was like, I'll tell you what, West Ham are going to frustrate Liverpool. And we did for a long, long period of time. So it's nice to go into this game and think, right, West Ham can get the 3 points. But I've said this on previews, it's an acid test for Moyes. It's all right when you've got to sit deep and counter. Like, what is it like when you've got to go and put the pressure on Fulham? And there's so many holes in that team. I mean, I've watched Scott Parker, and I think what he's trying to do from an attacking sense, I get. I think it's admirable, but the gaps that he leaves, I think Lamine is injured this weekend as well. They pushed the fullbacks on, so they're going to leave space. If West Ham go in there with a real pressing mindset and we go to attack and we bring on Said Benrahma and we get service into Haller, it could be talking 3-1 or like maybe a 4-1. I just think West Ham are going to be too strong for them. And every avenue that I can think about Fulham, either delivery or either trying to make something through the middle, West Ham are just going to frustrate them. It's bread and butter to West Ham in this system. So fingers crossed, mate, I'd get a 3-0. But no, knowing that, I'll probably go lose 1-0 to Scotty Parker and I'll be tearing my hair out.
You know what, Corey? I don't think I've ever seen you as like buoyant, man. Not like
yeah. No, mate.
You know, this is easy. We've got this. I love that. What has Benrahma featured at all yet, mate, off the bench or anything? Have you seen anything of him?
I had a little giggle last week because we had Haller up front, and obviously Antonio was such a big miss for us. Like I think we could have got a result against Liverpool if Antonio was playing. He's that important. And Haller was just absent, and it was like, bring on a sub, change it up. And we bring on Benrahma, perfect game for him. Came on in the 88th minute at left wing back, and I was like, please, if this is what Moyes is going to do for the rest of the season, don't bother, because there's just no point. And I hope, like, West Ham fans, we want to see him play. He's skillful, he's exciting, he's got that Payet vibe about him. But 4-0 is the way he's playing at the moment. Defensive work rate going forward. It's like, if you bring Benrahma in, you've got to drop 4-0s. And that's always the problem. And Moyes is so like, this is my team, let's keep it the same. I hope we don't get to December thinking, God, we've only seen like 15, 20 minutes of Benrahma. And this is the perfect game, mate. This is the perfect game for Benrahma. Scores the goal in the Carabao Cup against them. They leave space in front of that back four. Benrahma plays, I think it'll be comfortable for West Ham.
Yeah, man, he's a top player. I was talking to Dia from back of the nest to Crystal Palace, and we were talking about Eze, and I was saying, Calvin, you know, just on Championship players, and I was saying, Calvin said Eze was his most difficult game, and he turned around and he went, well, I'd love to be able to say it, but we don't see him play. Roy don't play him. It's like, fuck's sake, man, these players are getting wasted, man, wasted. And to hear Benrahma coming on at left wing back, that's just made me chuckle, man. That has made me chuckle. Locks, Leicester Wolves, quick one, mate. Obviously, as a Leeds United fan, both of you sat in and got us on the counter. With Leicester having to take, would you say you have to take the impetus in this game, or are you going to play a similar sort of style? Because against Arsenal and City and us, it's worked and you've got on the counter. However, when you've had to go on and win games, maybe you've struggled a little bit. How do you see this one panning out, mate?
Yeah, I see us playing the same way, if I'm honest. Wolves, it's a big game. Obviously, if we win and Liverpool drop points, we'll go top of the table. So, yeah, it's a big game for us. I think we will play the same way. I mean, even last night against Braga, we played that same way. And it's just a system now which Brendan Rodgers is kind of getting used to playing, and the players as well. We're still littered with injuries. But we're not really, a few weeks ago when we lost to West Ham and Aston Villa, I'd say, we are missing these key players. But in the last few games, it just doesn't feel that way. We're on good form. We've got 3 wins out of 3 in Europe, and we've still got some absolute kind of key players for us coming back, like Ricardo Pereira, Kagler Soyuncu, even Johnny Evans. He's not going to be fit tomorrow on Sunday, against Wolves. So we're still missing those players. we didn't really think we had good enough squad depth at Leicester, and it turns out, well, it's starting to turn out that we do. So Mark Albrighton as well on that right hand side, the right wing back position. He's been quality for us. He's a big presser, really. I think he'd fit well at Leeds massively, if I'm honest. But he's been quality for us. So yeah, I think we are going to sit back a bit of Wolves. They are a structured side, and we are going to have to look for some kind of spaces to kind of show up here and there. Fingers crossed we can kind of do some damage to them like we did against Leeds. But I think it's going to be a bit of a different game than it was against Leeds. I don't think they're not going to be giving away as much space as you did on Monday night. So it's going to be difficult. I don't think we're going to score 4 goals for the 3rd game in a row. I think it will be kind of a tight margin this time round, and I'd probably go for it's a tough one, 2-1 Leicester.
2-1 Leicester, nice.
2-1.
I think it'll be tight. I was impressed by, I was really impressed by Albrighton, to be fair, because I thought he'd have a job on against Harrison and Dallas as well on that side, but I thought he was brilliant. If I compared him with Matty Cash the previous week, I thought he was class.
Yeah, it's weird because obviously prior to this system we're playing in now, we have played 4-4-2 over the last few years. Obviously when we won the league we were using 4-4-2, but the season before that in the Great Escape, that kind of started when we did switch to a 3 at the back and then the 2 wing backs further up, and Mark Albrighton was playing in the right wing back position towards the end of that season, and he was quality there. So with Ricardo Pereira out, we've had a few different players there. James Justin, who's been good for such a young lad, but because of injuries at centre back, he has been pulled to centre back. So Mark Albrighton's gone in there, and I think that position suits him to the ground. Really, he can whip a ball in perfectly, and his defensive work rate's incredible.
Yeah, man, really impressed. Like Justin Fofana, the left wing back, I forget his name. I thought he was class as well, who played left wing back Monday night. What was his name now?
Thomas, wasn't it?
Yeah, Luke Thomas. Yeah. 19-year-old.
Yeah.
He's only played about 6-7 games for us. So
yeah, some good players. Even that under off the bench as well, man. The foresight to just dink that ball after Maddison had set him up to put in Vardy, I thought was pretty special as well. But yeah, I think who do you see winning these, Oscar? West Ham to batter Fulham and Leicester Wolves?
I'm thinking about 2-1 both games. I think Leicester and West Ham will both win. I think West Ham, the only thing is can they get Ben Rama in there? Smalley's going to, as Corey was saying, you can be stubborn. You can be as stubborn as old Marcelo, trying to get Rafinha into the team. It's that kind of same idea for us. He's just trying to find a way to get Ben Rama into the team. I think, I still think West Ham are going to win that game. I think, I can't see anything other than that. But I think Leicester Wolves, really interesting battle, isn't it? Vardy versus Jimenez, from that sense, probably 2 of the most underrated strikers in the league for me. For me, both in the top 5 in the whole league. I just think Leicester got a little bit more quality. Ultimately, Barnes, Under, midfield looks really good. Maddison came on. I mean, how good was Maddison when he came on the other night? I think he showed all the things in that game that Grealish didn't the week before. He just played with his brain. His football
last night as well. Last night
he's just a superb
League.
player.
Yeah, he is. He is a brilliant player. I thought Tielemans was great as well, but we're giving too much credit to Locks and Leicester now. We need to move on, man. We need to move on. Right, guys, it's that time again. Anyway, I don't feel right doing the jingle without old Danny Alioski, But Oscar, get your wig on and that. All right.
It's that time again. It's time for All Smart Aren't We? With your host, Danny Alioski.
There we go. Nice change, Oscar. Nice. Right, who's going?
Around thinking, I've not thought this through, have I?
Come on then. Right, Locks, what did you get last week? Do you remember?
I think it was 4. Yeah, there were some lucky ones there. Which I knew, but I'm not as confident this week.
Cool. Right. Forget the home and away after that, what happened last week.
That's what I'm prepared for.
All right, go on, Oscar. I'll let you do it. Sorry, mate. Go on.
We'll do... All right, rather than home and away, what can we have instead of home or away? All right, then. Corey, we'll go to you first, mate.
Right. Oh, are we still picking home or away, or just picking for me?
Questions A or questions B?
Oh, it's got to be questions B for me, mate. Questions B.
Questions B.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, have we got the timer on, Mr. Wayman?
We have.
Okay, let's go. Right, so who is the Champions League's all-time leading goal scorer?
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Correct. Who did Real Madrid sign Toni Kroos from?
Bayern Munich.
Correct. What year did Jose Mourinho last win the Premier League title?
2014. Oh, it's
Incorrect.
15, isn't it?
Who was the top scorer in the Championship last season?
Alexander Mitrovic.
Correct. Who has scored more goals for Liverpool? Mohamed Salah or Sadio Mane?
Mohamed
In all
Salah.
competitions.
Yeah, still Salah.
Correct. That's 4. Okay. In which city would you find the Mestalla Stadium?
Valencia.
Correct. Which club are known as the Bantams?
Bradford.
Correct.
Time.
Complete this sequence. Time.
Go on, I'll let you
Okay,
finish.
I've started, but I'll continue. I've started, and I'll continue, Wayman. Complete the sequence of Gary Monk's managerial career: Swansea, Leeds, Gap, Birmingham, Sheffield Wednesday.
Leeds.
No, he said, do it again, Oscar.
Okay. Swansea, Leeds, Gap, Birmingham, Sheffield Wednesday. He's had a lot of clubs.
Stoke.
No, Middlesbrough.
Oh,
Good effort.
I know Gary Monk's managerial history.
Do you know what? You'd have took the lead. If you'd have got that right as well, you'd have took the lead.
I know, that's why I'm fuming. I was like,
I'm good for you.
Never mind.
Oscar likes Spanish football. I don't know if you could tell. All these Spanish runs are coming off. I was going, Oscar, man. Hey, God. I love that Gary Monk one, though. Right, Locks.
I'm not beating that. I'm not beating that. Go on.
Okay, are we ready, Mr. Wayman, with the timer? Let's go. Who was the last footballer outside of Messi and Ronaldo to win the Ballon d'Or?
Kaká.
No, incorrect. Who played more games for Chelsea, Kevin De Bruyne or Mohamed Salah?
Love that.
Kevin De Bruyne.
Incorrect. Which English club play their home games at the City Ground?
Forest.
Yeah. Which country did Sam Allardyce oversee his one game as England manager against?
Italy.
Incorrect. What was Danny Ings' first professional club?
Burnley. It's not right.
Incorrect.
Shocking.
Who were the only team to win the FA Cup and be relegated from the Premier League in the same season?
Was that... It went Wigan, was it?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
That's it, Oscar. That's it.
2.
I thought he started.
I've started. Who's the last club to win the Bundesliga after Bayern Munich?
Dortmund.
Correct. That's 3.
There you go. Right.
Not great.
Give us them wrong answers, Oscar.
So, last footballer outside of Messi and Ronaldo was Luka Modric in 2018.
Of course.
It's a close one between De Bruyne and Salah. De Bruyne played 10, Salah played 12. There's a close one, to be fair. Sam Allardyce oversaw his one game against who? Did anyone else get it?
No, I don't.
Is it San Marino?
Slovakia.
That's tough, man.
Danny Ings' first professional club?
Bournemouth.
Yeah, Bournemouth. and that was it. I think and the year Mourinho last won the Premier League, Corey was so close.
Oh man, if I'd got that, it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered.
2015, but you're doing top, mate. You're doing top.
Got it. I've had enough practice, haven't I? So
I was going to say, yeah, go on, man. You've had about 5 goals at it now, mate.
Read up on Gary Monk, and then you'll win this next time.
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. I'll drop it out.
Great. Honestly, boys, great guests as always. Just before we leave, I'll just remind everyone that this video is sponsored by Football Prizes. This week, you can win an Eric Bakker signed original 2001-2002 Leeds United home shirt. £3.95 a ticket. Look, there weren't many left after last time I checked. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have a quick little check now for you. Just while we're on, just give me 1 sec, because you might be thinking, I might get myself one ticket. It's just loading up, so I'll just try to fill this gap up while it loads up. Just bear with us 1 second. They have 8 plus 6, 14 tickets. I had to count them on my fingers. There is 14 tickets left for this, guys. So if you're watching, £3.95. Head over, get yourself a couple of tickets, and you could win that signed Eric Bakker shirt. And of course, if Leeds United isn't your bag, then they do have other shirts available as well. I think Oscar will probably be trying to get hold of that Ronaldo and Messi boot because he loves his Spanish football. $6.95 a ticket, Oscar.
One, mate. If it was Messi, I'm Messi. I'm putting everything on it.
Yeah. Well, just go for it anyway, right? And then take the boot.
Of course I want it, mate. Of course I want it.
Yeah, just take the boot off and just leave the one with Messi, man. That'll do. Right, Corey, how can we find you, mate? I think people know by now you're an absolute ledge, but how can we find you, my man?
Just the West Ham YouTube channel. I think we've got Leeds next month, so be able to do some stuff there, which will be quite funny. Just there, mate, and Corey Kemp on Twitter. So
definitely, mate. You know, if we beat you, I'm definitely phoning in on your little phone, you have 100%.
No, mate, do you know what, mate? I'll tell you now. I'm trying to do these post-match reaction shows, which either go one way or the other. So if we beat you, it'll be class. Just get you to come on and get the
I might just come on and be like, yeah, it was a good fucking game and that, and then go, he's a fucking good guy, man, and then just go, Lito! I'll have you, man. No,
they'll get the right on. No, you can imagine West Ham fans. They'll go, get this guy off, get him off. That's what I'll get.
Locks, where can we find you, mate?
Yeah, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Leicester Fan TV. We have started as well recently doing the watch along, so if Leeds aren't playing at the time and you fancy watching a watch along from a Leicester game, come and join.
Yeah, come and join. You've got a new Twitter handle as well, haven't you, mate? I had this I was trying to find Locks earlier on, right? And I sent him this message and it just disappeared. And I was like, what's all that about? And then I went to try and find him and he deleted his Twitter and I was going, has he blocked me? And I went to our lass. Honestly, I said, love, search this on Twitter, will you? Because I want to know if this kid's blocked me. I don't know what happened there, look.
The Twitter I'm on now, I forgot the login to a few months back, so I couldn't get in. And then obviously I've had this other one, but yeah, finally I'm back in, so I'm using this new one. Yeah, LCFC Locks it is.
LCFC Locks. Make sure you check them out as always, guys, and watch their stuff over the weekend. I think it's a good weekend of football. Me and Oscar will be back tomorrow at about 2:30 with the live watch along for Leeds versus Palace. So please join us for that as well, and we'll see you in a bit.